Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Rundown. We're going to go over the MLB game scheduled for Tuesday, July 26th, 2022. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to put your baseball picks in the comments section below. If you're looking for my MLB best bets, you can find those at the premium picks tab at pickdawgz.com. Of course, I'm always running my $15 MLB best bets. You can check that out at Pickdawgz Premium. Alrighty, here we go. Here are the games for Tuesday, July 26th. First up, we see the Chicago Cubs taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates with Bryce Wilson and Keegan Thompson as your starters. And I think Keegan Thompson is the much better option on the mound in this game. I would say the Cubs and the Pirates have a pretty even lineup and bullpen. They're more towards the bottom of the league in both bullpen and lineup production, but Keegan Thompson 7-4 with a 3.43 ERA. He's got 75 Ks in 81 innings, not too bad. He limits home runs, which I like to see. And on the other side, Bryce Wilson on the road this year, he's 0-3 with a 5.52 ERA. He's only got 22 strikeouts in 31 innings. He's allowing a lot of home runs on the road, a lot of base hits as well. His whip at 1.65 overall this season. Although he pitched pretty well in his last outing at Coors Field, I still don't think he's good enough here on the road against the Cubs. I think the Cubs are the better team here, so I'm going to take the Chicago Cubs on the money line. Next up, we see the Miami Marlins taking on the Cincinnati Reds with Hunter Greene and Pablo Lopez as your starters. Pablo Lopez has had the better year compared to Hunter Greene overall in 2022, but as of late, Lopez has really struggled. His last outing against the Rangers, 5 innings, 5 hits, 5 earned runs, and a home run in that one. He's given up 7 walks in his last 10 innings combined, and I do worry about him in this spot at a hitter-friendly ballpark in Great American. Hunter Greene on the other side, he's had his fair share of struggles in his rookie season. However, he's got 113 strikeouts in 90 innings pitched this year. And the Miami Marlins, they have strikeout issues themselves, and they've had offensive issues themselves the last 2 weeks or so, even more than that. They just haven't been able to get any consistent offense. I know they've made some moves. They brought up J.J. Bleday from the minor leagues, making his first few games in the major leagues, but I don't think it's enough. I think the Marlins need to make a move at the deadline if they want to help this lineup and try to make a push for the playoffs. But right now, this lineup is not very good, and I don't want to lay a price like this on the road with them. So give me the plus money here with the Cincinnati Reds on the money line. In our next matchup, we see the Atlanta Braves taking on the Philadelphia Phillies with Aaron Nola and Spencer Strider as the projected starters. Really good pitching matchup we have here, and it makes me like the under in this one. Even though the Braves have a very strong lineup, the Phillies have been able to hit at times this year themselves. But you look at Aaron Nola last time out, 8 1/3 innings, shutout baseball, 10 strikeouts, only 4 hits and a walk allowed to the Marlins in a 4-0 Phillies win. Overall, in the last 2 weeks or so, the Phillies offense has been really inconsistent, so I'm not sure I can trust their bats in this one, even though I do like Nola. On the other side, Spencer Strider's coming off one of his weaker starts of the year, where he gave up 5 earned runs against the Nationals, but still, he's pitching really well in his rookie season. 114 strikeouts in 74 innings pitched. The Phillies have had strikeout issues against righties in the last month or so, as they are 5th highest in strikeout rate at 24.6% against righties. I'm going to take the under in this game. I think we're going to see a pretty low-scoring game, and I think it's going to be a game where either team has a chance to win it late. So give me the under in the Braves-Phillies. Next up, we see the Tampa Bay Rays taking on the Baltimore Orioles. Shane McClanahan and Spencer Watkins are your projected starters. To me, this is a pitching mismatch. You look at Shane McClanahan, he's got to be an American League Cy Young candidate, him, and you throw Justin Verlander in there. These are the top 2 pitchers in the American League right now, and 147 strikeouts in 110 innings is 4th in the league. The best ERA right now in the American League, the best whip at .80. The Orioles have struggled against lefties in the last month or so offensively, so I think McClanahan has a really good outing here. On the other side, Spencer Watkins has a good ERA on paper right now at 3.93, but you look at his expected ERA and his xFIP, they're above 5 right now, so I do have my worries with him. He doesn't strike out a ton of batters. The Rays offense has improved against right-handed pitching in the last month or so, so I do like Tampa Bay to get to Watkins here. I think McClanahan gives us a nice start as well. I think Tampa Bay wins this one going away. Give me the Rays here on the run line, laying the 1.5 runs. Next up, we see the St. Louis Cardinals taking on the Toronto Blue Jays. Andre Pallante and Jose Barrios are your projected starters for this one. Now, Andre Pallante's got a 3.34 ERA. Now, the advanced metrics aren't really on his side because he doesn't strike out a lot of guys. He does have a little bit of a walk issue. The home run ball has started to hurt him at times this season. and I don't really like this matchup for him against a really good Blue Jays lineup. Now, the Blue Jays going into this series have won 6 straight games, and their offense is number 1 in the league in team OPS against righties in the last 30 days, top 10 in isolated power as well. I think they get to Palante and a pretty weak Cardinals bullpen overall. On the other side, Jose Barrios has not had the best year in Toronto. He's got a good record at 7-4, but you look at that ERA, 5.22. However, at home, he's been chef's kiss. 5-0 with a 3.33 ERA, 57 strikeouts, and 51 1/3 innings. So he has been very, very good at home this season. No bueno on the road, but at home here, I think he pitches well enough to get the Blue Jays a win and a cover on the run line. So give me the Toronto Blue Jays laying the 1.5 runs. In our next matchup, we see the Subway Series. The New York Yankees taking on the New York Mets. Jordan Montgomery and Taijuan Walker are your starters. The Mets are going to be facing a lefty here in Montgomery, and the Mets have not done too much offensively against lefties this season. In the last 30 days, the Mets are ranked 16th in isolated power. They're ranked in the 20s at 21st overall in team OPS, and Montgomery's been Mr. Consistency this season. Most of his starts only giving up 2 earned runs or fewer. So a couple starts where he's gotten into some trouble, but for the most part, very, very strong for New York this season. Now, the run support hasn't always been there for Montgomery. In his last 4 outings, he's pitched pretty well overall, but the Yankees' bats have just not been there for him. A couple extra innings losses as well for the Yankees, but they're going to be facing Taijuan Walker, who's been traditionally known as a first-half pitcher. Last year, that was certainly the case for the Mets, where Walker put up together almost an all-star caliber first half, and then he really struggled in the second half of the year. And the advanced numbers do say that there is some regression to worry about in Walker's game going into the second half. He's got a 2.55 ERA, but a 3.7 xFIP, so some room for regression. You look at the Yankees' bats, they've been a lot better than some of the teams Walker has faced as of late. In fact, Walker, in his last 6 outings, it's been against the Marlins 3 times, the Reds, the Cubs. He did face the Astros once, but mostly weak offenses. You're not facing a weak offense here. The Yankees, number 5 in the last 30 days in team OPS against righties, number 4 in isolated power. So although I do think this is going to be a pretty low-scoring game overall, I still think Walker will have a decent outing. I think the Yankees' bats can be trusted a little bit more in this spot. My only worry is right now the Yankees' bullpen. They're missing a big reliever in that rotation, in that bullpen, in Michael King, who's going to be out for the season. He is not. This is not really being talked about a lot, but I think it should be. Michael King is a guy that's not only going to be able to get you some innings in that bullpen, but he does it really efficiently. He's not a guy that the Yankees throw out there when they're getting killed or when they're killing another team. He's somebody that can get you important innings. So him being out of this bullpen, I think, is going to hurt the Yankees quite a bit. I think they need to make a move at the deadline, bringing in another reliever. They do have some guys that are going to be returning from injury soon, in Miguel Castro and Zach Britton, but still, this Yankees bullpen needs another arm, in my opinion. I'm going to take the Yankees in this game. I got a little bit off track there, but give me the Yankees on the money line. Next up, we see the Cleveland Guardians taking on the Boston Red Sox. No official starter for Cleveland right now. Josh Winkowski going for the Red Sox. Winkowski's really struggled at Fenway Park this year with a 5.49 ERA, only 11 strikeouts in 19 2/3 innings. He's also really struggled recently, and before the All-Star break, he also went on the COVID list. This is going to be his first start from after that COVID list placement. So in his last 11 innings, he's given up 9 earned runs, 3 home runs, 7 walks as well. I don't like him in this spot against the Guardians lineup. It's very patient at the plate. They hit right-handed pitching very, very well. And overall, the Red Sox lineup and bullpen has really struggled in the last 2 weeks or so. Right now, give me the Guardians in this spot on the road on the money line. Next up, we see the San Diego Padres taking on the Detroit Tigers with Mike Clevinger and Garrett Hill as the starters. Mike Clevinger had a really sharp outing before the All-Star break on July 17th against the D-backs. 6 innings, 1 earned run, 8 strikeouts. Now, the Padres bats didn't back him up in that one, but against Garrett Hill, I do think they will in this spot. Garrett Hill this season, a 5.63 ERA, only 8 Ks in 16 innings pitched this season, giving up a home run in each of his first 3 outings. The walks have also been an issue for him, base hits galore, and I do think the Padres can get to Hill in this spot. With the Tigers really struggling against right-handed pitching, I just have to take the Padres here. Even though the Tigers have been pretty good as a home underdog this year, give me San Diego on the road on the money line. Next up, we see the Los Angeles Angels taking on the Kansas City Royals. Jose Suarez and Angel Zerpa are your projected starters in this one. And to be honest, I don't really have a ton of confidence in either of these starting pitching options. However, when you look at the offensive numbers, to me it says Kansas City all the way. When you look at the Royals in the last 30 days against lefties, top 10 in team OPS and isolated power. But when you look at the Los Angeles Angels, 29th in team OPS and in isolated power, not much better, actually worse, 30th in the league. They have really struggled against lefties. You look at their strikeout rate against lefties, it's the highest in the league in the last month, 28.3%. The Royals, one of the lowest in the league at 18.6%. So I think the Royals have a big advantage in terms of their offense and their lineup, and I like the Kansas City Royals here on the money line at home. Next up, we see the Minnesota Twins taking on the Milwaukee Brewers. Dylan Bundy and Ethan Small as your starters for this one. This is a really tough game for me as far as taking a side. I don't really trust either of these starting pitchers, so I'm just going to take the over. We've seen both of these bullpens struggle quite a bit recently, which is a bit surprising to see Milwaukee's bullpen do that. In that Rocky series, it wasn't the strongest. We've seen guys like Josh Hader struggle a little bit in the last month. And one of these teams that Hader struggled against was these Minnesota Twins, where Jose Miranda hit a 3-run walk-off home run. But when you look at these starting pitchers, Dylan Bundy giving up 7 earned runs in his last 10 and a third innings pitched on the road this year, 6.02 ERA this season. So I cannot back him here against a Brewers lineup that's done pretty well against right-handed pitching this year. Now, Ethan Smalls only had one outing this year in Milwaukee, 2 2/3 innings against the Cubs back on May 30th. 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 4 walks. He's had really bad control issues at times, and the Twins have improved their game offensively against lefties overall. At the beginning of the year, they didn't hit lefties much at all, but the Twins are top 15 in both team OPS and isolated power against those lefties in the last month, so I think they can chip in with some offense as well. I mentioned how these bullpens have struggled. I mentioned that starting pitching has struggled. The lineups are pretty strong, so with all that being said, I'm going to take the over in the Twins-Brewers game. Next up, we see the Chicago White Sox taking on the Colorado Rockies. Michael Kopech and German Marquez are your projected starters. Overall, the White Sox have not hit right-handed pitching very well this season, and German Marquez has improved his game. You look at his last 2 outings, although he's faced some pretty weak lineups, he has pitched well, 13 2/3 innings, 4 earned runs, not too bad, only 1 home run allowed in that stretch, 8 strikeouts to go with it. And I do think against the White Sox lineup, like I mentioned, has not done much against righties. I think Marquez can have a quality outing here. On the other side, Michael Kopech hasn't been too bad in his last couple outings. The walks are something that concerns me a bit, but this is a really tough spot for the Rockies offense and really overall team. Going from Milwaukee after a 4-game series to Coors Field on no days rest. Now, I know it's a hitter-friendly ballpark, but I still think the Rockies, a team that's definitely hit lefties better than righties, I think they struggle at the plate a little bit in this one. So I'm going to lean towards the under in this game, but not my favorite game on the board. Next up, we see the Houston Astros taking on the Oakland Athletics. Frankie Montas going for the Athletics. No official starter for the Astros right now. Now, this is the game that I do believe the Athletics will have the best chance at competing in, but when you look at that home record and you look at Frankie Montas' home record at 1-6, even though he has a really good ERA at 2.57, 81 Ks in 73 innings, it just goes to show you that this Oakland A's team is one of the weaker teams in baseball, especially offensively. They haven't been able to score runs. They haven't been able to give any run support to Montas, and I don't blame that 1-6 record on him. He's done his part with that stellar ERA, but the Oakland A's just cannot play at home this year. And the Astros, even though they haven't even announced a starter, I still think they've got a good enough bullpen to win this game. The lineup's been very good against right-handed pitching. So I could see Oakland competing in this game early on with Montas, but late in the game, the Astros have the much better lineup and the much better bullpen. So I think they win this one late. Give me the Houston Astros on the money line. Next up, we see the San Francisco Giants taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Now, right now, we see Carlos Rodon and Tyler Gilbert as the starters. Gilbert was projected to go on Monday, but they moved him to Tuesday. We'll see if he is the official starter here. But Carlos Rodon, to me, going to have a pretty good outing against the Diamondbacks lineup that just doesn't do much against left-handed pitching this season. Rodon, an all-star, one of the better pitchers in the National League this year. Pretty good signing for the Giants and somebody that they're going to need to continue to pitch this well if they want to make a postseason run. Last start for Rodon was not his best, but that was against the Los Angeles Dodgers. He still was able to strike out some batters in that one, but just didn't have his best stuff overall. But against the Arizona Diamondbacks, although they have pretty good power numbers against lefties, I still don't think they do enough here offensively. And on the other side, the Giants have really been doing great against lefties this season. In terms of isolated power, they're number 1 in the league in the last 30 days. And Tyler Gilbert hasn't had too many issues with the home run ball. in previous seasons, but 7 home runs allowed already this year. I don't like that spot in only 30 innings pitched. I think he gets hit pretty hard in this one. I think Rendon is good enough to get a win as well. So give me the San Francisco Giants on the money line in this one. Next up, we see the Texas Rangers taking on the Seattle Mariners. Dane Dunning and George Kirby are your projected starters. Now this season, Dane Dunning's got a 4.42 ERA overall, which isn't too bad for a middle-end rotation guy for the Texas Rangers, but on the road this season, he's fared a lot worse. 0-5 with a 5.52 ERA. He's only got 36 strikeouts in 45 2/3 innings. The walks that he's allowed are way up on the road, 20 walks, 57 base hits, and overall this season he's got a 1.42 whip. So he allows a lot of base runners, doesn't strike out a lot of batters himself. I think the Mariners have a really good matchup here offensively. On the other side, George Kirby has struggled against certain lineups. He didn't pitch that well against the Blue Jays in his last outing. Even though Mariners got the win and he only gave up 2 earned runs, he gave up 10 base hits in that one and only 4 in the 3rd innings. But he's had a lot of success against teams that strike out a lot. His last outing against a team like that was the Oakland A's, who do strike out quite a bit. He went 7 innings, earning 9 strikeouts, only 1 earned run allowed. And the Texas Rangers in the last 30 days, just under the Oakland A's in strikeout rate against righties there. The Oakland A's 23.7%, Texas 23.5%. It's kind of comparing apples and oranges there, as the Rangers have a much better lineup than the A's, obviously. But still, I think Kirby's ability to earn some strikeouts will help him in this spot. I think he's good enough here for the Mariners to grab a win at home. So give me the Seattle Mariners here on the money line. In our final game of the night, we see the Washington Nationals taking on the Los Angeles Dodgers. We're going to see Josiah Gray and Mitch White as the starters in this one. Now, Josiah Gray has been very, very good on the road this year. 5-0 with a 2.14 ERA on the road. His ERA is above 6 at home this year. But he's also really struggled in night games, and he struggles against teams that don't strike out a lot and do hit a lot of home runs. And the Dodgers, they check those boxes for sure. This Dodgers team has been very, very good against right-handed pitching from the beginning of the season. In the last 30 days, they're number 2 in team OPS, number 3 in isolated power. They limit strikeouts at the plate. Josiah Gray's given up 5 home runs in his last 11 innings pitched, and although he's got 18 Ks in that stretch, he still is really struggling in those innings as well. I can't trust him in this spot on the road. Even though he's pitched better on the road this season, I still think the Dodgers get to him one of the better lineups in baseball, especially against right-handed pitching. Give me the Los Angeles Dodgers here on the run line. I think they win this one pretty comfortably. And that's it. Those are the games for Tuesday, July 26th. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And don't forget to put your baseball picks in the comments section below. Again, if you're looking for my MLB best bets, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium. As always, this is Ron Romanelli. Good luck.